Spin from independent TV, giving you the lowdown on which TV shows are binge-worthy and which ones are bin-worthy. This week, we've been watching new Apple TV series Shrinking and the 4th season of Netflix's You.
And we'll introduce you to our pick of hidden gems we think you should be watching.
Annabel!
Jacob, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you. I've been watching a ton of TV.
Okay, well, let's dig in. What have you been watching?
So, I have been watching the new Apple TV Plus series, Shrinking, which is a 10-episode comedy drama created by Brett Goldstein, you've got Bill Lawrence and Jason Segel, who is the lead star in this show. Now, Brett Goldstein and Bill Lawrence, they are two of the many people who have brought success to Ted Lasso, which is obviously the jewel in Apple TV's crown, really, in many ways. And they've obviously, Apple TV have tried to get Bill and Brett to strike gold again. You know, why wait until Ted's finished? Let's just, get another TV show off the ground. It's basically about a therapist who's lost his wife and he raises, he's a single father, raising his daughter, and he is a mess. He's a therapist, but he's a mess. And one day he decides to start telling his patient exactly what he thinks, just, throwing professional caution to the wind.
Right. How does that make you feel?
It kind of ruffles the feathers of his therapist, played by Harrison Ford, which is the reason why I really wanted to watch the show, because Harrison Ford in a TV show, you kind of wanted to see what that goes like. And the fact is, Harrison Ford is the best thing in it because he's not in it a lot and he's having a lot of fun when he is in it, doing that classic grumpy Harrison Ford thing that he does so well. But I don't think he has any ties to the material, and the fact is the material isn't as strong as it thinks it is, and it certainly isn't as strong as it needs to be for a 10-episode TV series.
Coin flip? Get out of here.
I think the concept is clever. There's certainly some interesting plot twists in the first few episodes relating to him just kind of letting loose at these patients who are like, wait, you're not meant to be saying that. But that's quite short-lived, to be honest with you. And then it tries to veer into the heartwarming territory that Ted Lasso does so well, and sadly so much better. It's not a bad show by any stretch, but it's just very unremarkable. So yeah, Shrinking.
How disappointing. I feel like I love Scrubs, so that's such a shame. But I mean, it sounds like I know where you're going with this, but is Shrinking a binge or a bin?
The thing is, I say this with someone who had high hopes for it, as Scrubs is great and Ted Lasso, I love it. I'm an absolute sucker for that show. Shrinking could have been better if it was less. I think less is more would have been better. So Shrinking, sadly, is a bin.
It took you longer than it should have.
I've been watching You on Netflix, which has returned for its 4th season. Series 4 kind of picks up where Series 3 left off. Joe, a serial stalker, sometimes murderer, played by Gossip Girl's Penn Badgley, has relocated to London after faking his death. And there he assumes a new identity, of course, teaching English literature at a university under the pseudonym Professor Jonathan Moore. So while he's there, he infiltrates this group of super wealthy, super awful toffs, basically. And obviously he has his eye on one of them especially, a gallerist named Kate, who's played by Fresh Meat's Charlotte Ritchie. You would think that's going to be like the focal point of the series, and I don't want to give anything away. But there's a twist that happens really early on, and it makes it very abundantly clear that that's not going to be the case.
Why are you here?
I do find it really impressive that the writers are able to kind of keep this concept fresh, because I definitely think if it was in the hands of any other writer, there's definitely a danger that it would get really boring really quickly. They're always just trying to push the material, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but they're always trying, and I think, they've created a bingeable show.
Interesting. Yeah, I hear a lot about this show, and I hear it's very bingeable, but I don't know whether that means it's good or not. So I'm intrigued to hear your answer here. Would you say season 4 part 1 is a binge or a bin?
It's kind of the definition of a binge. As soon as one episode ends, you start the next one. I think I actually did binge all 5 episodes in one evening.
Let's tuck into some hidden gems here. Shows that we think that you should be watching, shows you might not have heard of, but we want to put on your radar, or ones that you should fast track to the top of your watch lists. My hidden gem this week is UNDONE. which is a Prime Video animated series by Kate Purdy and Raphael Bob Waxberg, whose names you might recall if you've ever watched BoJack Horseman. Raphael Bob Waxberg was the creator of that, and Kate Purdy was a writer. It's done a bit like Rotoscope, how Richard Linklater did Waking Life and Scanner Darkly, where you can see the actors' performances through, like, even though it's animated. It's really impressively done. So if you're into animation anyway, this is one to watch.
Is this a dream?
Well, partly.
Rosa Salazar plays a girl called Alma who has a car crash, and the experience thrusts her through time. In a way, thrusts her through time, it gives her the ability to kind of control time at her will. And in this way, she uncovers a mystery surrounding the death of her father, who's played and voiced by Bob Odenkirk, Saul Goodman himself. Yeah, so it's high concept. It's got a time travel element. It's visually beautiful, and it can jump into any place and any time because of it being an animation. So it really lends itself to that. And it's got a lot of heart and a lot of soul, and it's filled with twists. It ends on big cliffhangers that just make you want to binge it as well. But you also don't want to do that because you want to savor every last piece.
Of course. The only one in my family who believes in me is the dead one.
For now.
So my hidden gem this week is Search Party, which is a kind of dark comedy show that started on TBS for 2 seasons before it moved over to HBO Max. It kind of follows a group of 4 friends who run into trouble when one of them, Dory, played by Arrested Development's Alia Shawkat, becomes obsessed with the disappearance of someone that they vaguely knew at college, and they kind of all go down this rabbit hole trying to find this woman.
How long is this gonna be? Because I had like 30 other options tonight. I just want you to know I chose this.
I think a lot of the show's success hinges on the cast. Alia Shawkat is Dory. You have John Paul Reynolds, who plays her boyfriend, Drew. And then you have Meredith Hagner playing Portia. And she started her career on soap operas, kind of like As the World Turns. And again, she kind of brings like a soap opera-y, like melodramaticness to this role as well. And then John Early, who appeared on 30 Rock as Jenna's son. So Search Party is the co-creation of 3 writers, Sarah Violet Bliss, Charles Rogers, and Michael Showalter. And yeah, the writing is just really clever. I think it takes you in places that you don't think it'll go. And what I really like about it is how fast-paced it is. It's kind of like storylines that would take some shows a whole season to unfold, or 2 seasons even. They get through them really quickly, and so you're not kind of waiting around. And also, I know we've spoken about this a lot, but the episodes are short. They're 20 minutes, and it's the perfect kind of bite-sized, bingeable TV series.
I read online it takes years to get over killing someone, so the best we can do is just carry on.
Thanks so much for watching Binge or Bin. Got lots of tips there. It's more than enough to keep you going until we see you again next time. Like and comment below, and subscribe for more from Independent TV.